I'm excited to have with me Christina Casperson, who is a registered clinical counselor and also a Canadian certified counselor. She's also a registered 500-hour yoga instructor. She specializes in persistent pain, nervous system regulation, and complex trauma. Christina is here today to talk about her work and the mind and body connection. Welcome, Christina.
Hi, so nice to be with you. Thank you so much for inviting me, Christine.
Yes, and I can never forget our names because Christina. So,
It does make it easier.
yes. So thank you so much for joining me on Run With It and on the Doctor's Corner segment. And tell our audience about your role.
Yeah, so I work as a registered clinical counselor, as you shared, and I have probably one of the weirdest jobs in the world. Anyone who works in the counseling profession, is a bit unusual to describe the type of work you do because it's so personal and it's so individualized. And we're inviting people in and we're getting to know them at a level where they may have never really explored before or even known that they had within them. um yeah, it's a bit of an unusual job in that what happens within the space of our counseling sessions can vary from week to week, and it can also be incredibly powerful work.
Yes, I mean, it is a specialty, right? Specialized field that you're in. And so I want to, like, how did you decide to take that career route?
I actually worked in sales and sales management for most of my career. I worked in a family company, I worked in a corporate company, and it was really my own experience of kind of moving through burnout, moving through injury, where I started looking at deeper spaces within myself and started looking for more information. There was a time where there was so much pain, and when I really slowed down to listen to it, it kind of said to me, like, if you're not going to listen when I whisper, like, I'm going to scream. And I was like, that is so weird. Where did that come from? And I went on this quest to find more and learn more about the mind body connection, um, to help understand kind of my own self and what was happening and occurring for me. And in that process, I ended up finding my passion, which is taking that work to others as well.
Yes, I mean, pain affects people different ways. Like, so the mind and body connection. So you need to, in layman terms, listen to not only your body but your brain because it's connected.
We like to like sometimes think that our brains are maybe floating over here or something. So we say mind body, but it's all one thing. It's connected. It's all connected. There's not anything that can happen to me internally or externally that is not being processed at every single level in every single system within what this thing is that we call a body. And
Yes.
so in listening to it, we're going to get different messages, and where we work with one thing, we work with everything in many ways.
Yes, it's like therapy, right? You do the pain reprocessing therapy, and as I said, it's a specialized field. And when clients come to you, they have different scenarios or different reasons for coming. This is where you come in and you do consultation, if you will, and then you find out what's behind the pain, if that's correct.
Yeah, so it usually people come in and they'll say, "Okay, I want to get started right away." We're going, "Okay, let's slow it down a little bit," because sometimes what we think the problem is just really a symptom of a bigger problem. And so symptoms are symptoms and the problem is the problem. And so it takes some time to really get into what we might call like the quote unquote the work you may have heard about. And so if we were to say, okay, we're going to go straight in and start working with the body or start working with somatic memory or start working with some of the things that have happened to you, well, that could be really scary, especially with persistent pain where the body can actually start feeling very, very dangerous. And so we're balancing it all the time.
Yes, and you have clients, and for the audience that may not know, it's your endurance athlete. And just to rewind, if I may, so that perhaps helped you into becoming specialist because you ran 100K from my understanding. So that's a lot.
Really far.
Yes, yes. So that helped, right, in your road to your work that you do. With Todd, so you see athletes, you see people from all walks of life, Christina?
Yeah, I see pretty much everyone from A through Z. Athletes, my time in the ultra running community, it was pretty apparent that most of us were looking for something and weren't exactly sure where to find it. And, I experienced within my peers, a lot of addiction, eating disorder, body dysmorphia, a lot of pain. And to simplify, there's a lot of pain there. And there's also a lot of joy and connection and community, and is a beautiful place to be in. And I recall, looking back at my time as a runner, we would kind of take our stories to the table and be like, oh yeah, in this race, who had the kind of the worst things happen to them, and then to get through it. And there was some bonding within that without actually looking critically and going, okay, well, hold on a second. Is this actually good?
Yes. Oh my goodness. It's like it gives an awareness, right? As how you started and like you are a testimonial. Like you've dealt with being an endurance athlete through pain and through, and now here you are helping others. And but I love, I'm going to say, compassion way of living. What does that look like?
Yeah, to kind of bring it back, this is not from me per se. It's Dr. Gabor Mate. He often speaks of what we call compassion fatigue is actually empathy fatigue. And so living compassionately is holding space and being with rather than being in what is occurring. And so as a counselor, it's my role to be with what is occurring for my client. And in my own therapy, it's my role to be with what is occurring within me. And compassion is never ending. It's endless. Compassion doesn't take from you. Compassion reinforces you. Whereas empathy or sympathy have a very different energy and a very different um, tone, if you will. Because if I'm putting myself in your shoes and I am not really being with you anymore, I'm going to be in that with you. There's kind of this analogy of, oh, you see someone drowning. Okay, well, are you going to jump in the water to save them? Or can you be the one who gives them like the life raft? And so compassion is here's the life raft. I hear you're struggling. Can I help you?
Which brings me to like regulate your emotions, like, is like, misconception about pain. And is to regulate your emotions, and that is can be, very helpful in your road to healing.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, when we say regulate, I often in kind of early sessions, I ask clients, I go, okay, so how do you regulate? And they go, I don't even know if I really know what that means, to be honest. And you go, okay, so let's start there. Because there's this idea that we should always be kind of here, but regulation looks a lot more like this. It's synchronicity, it's how our systems kind of all work within balance. Now, there's something called the window of tolerance, which, if you're familiar with, is like how much can one person tolerate within a window where they're not moving outside and into what we might call dysregulation. And so, in therapy, part of what we're doing is we're expanding the window and we're providing tools to stay within it. And so, I spent quite a bit of time there with many clients and kind of building up these resources and tools of what do you do when things aren't going the way that you would like? What do you do when you're hurt or you're sad or you're frustrated or angry? How is that experienced in your body? What are you telling yourself about it? And then do you have choice or can we find choice in what you want to do next? And so regulation's not about being here, it's about, okay, can I move through the day and without being stuck in either space?
And like, I know this may be, I guess it, depends, right? Like, when should one expect results? Like, generally, because it is a process.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
It depends. It depends. Yeah, it really does depend. You know, there's some clients that are coming in really well resourced. They maybe have done a lot of therapy before. They have some background in resourcing or tools. For them, we can jump in a little bit faster. But even those that really want to or really like feel like, yeah, I want to go there, not all of them may be on board with that. And so there's the clients that book, like a part of them books the appointment, and then a part of them really doesn't want to be there. And so we always start with that.
To check in, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, so like you're never too old. Like, perhaps someone is older and thinking, oh, I've been living through pain for many years. It doesn't matter. I'm used to managing the pain. Why? Oh, I don't know. I'll go see Christina. Like, but you're never too old. It's like, why go through the pain when you can live a quality of life?
You know, what's coming to mind is there's a kind of a quote, or I'm not going to quote it exactly, and I can't recall where I heard it, but both paths are hard, and so you can choose the hard. Yeah, it's never too late to kind of get this type of support, and it's also not easy because even if what your experience is extremely difficult and painful and hard, is what you do know. There's a sense of predictability, which the brain loves. The brain loves predictability. It loves having patterns repeat. It loves having that because it takes less energy. That's just physiological. The brain just, yeah, this is what we know. That's why, even though we're probably one of the, well, we are the most adaptable species. I think we're the most adaptable species. We don't really like change all that much because it's really difficult and takes a lot of energy to adapt to new environments. And so when we are working with these systems that have been in this place for so long, it would make sense that they'd be like, well, I don't like where I am, but either I don't have hope that there's something different for me, or I'm kind of scared of what that would actually look like because I don't know it. It's so now unfamiliar to not be in pain that that is scary.
But starting is the first step, right? And coming to that, like, what other services do you offer, Christina? And as I said, how does one start?
Yeah, usually like it's great to start with a consultation. Personally, I offer 20 minutes of a free consult where we do something like this, just to see if we're a good fit. Um, most studies show that, the therapeutic relationship, if you will, is where a lot of the results really come through from therapy. It's having that space and that connection. And so I might not be the right therapist for everybody. In fact, I know I'm not the right therapist for everybody. And that's not saying anything about them or saying anything about me. It's just about finding the right fit. So, like a consultation would be a great place to start. And then we would work on, what are some of the goals that you want to see come from this experience? Like, where do we start? Do we start with what's here in the present, or do we maybe go and find the roots if there's something from the past that's now precipitating what is now occurring? Um, I offer therapeutic yoga as part of my services. And so, that's a space where we can maybe bring in some movement, where we do things like, what's it called now? I forgot what it's called. A graded exposure, where we start looking for where are some of the yellow lights. Can we start attuning to what is happening within the body as we're working through this material? Interoception and proprioception are a really big component of coming back into the body and understanding what is actually happening. And so therapeutic yoga has a place. And then within my counseling services, I offer some corporate programs where, I can work with different companies, supporting their staff or doing workshops. And then on an individual level, we have so many paths to go. Maybe we stay a while in like nervous system and regulation and tools. Maybe we look at internal family systems therapy, and that might be the right approach. Or we work with eye movement desensitization reprocessing, EMDR. Um, Sometimes like a little bit of mix of all. Pain reprocessing therapy really also works well with all of that because it is really much about tracking somatically what is occurring.
You mentioned like eating disorders as well. Is that? Yes, that's really, wow. It's such a specialized field, as I keep saying. And so, Christina, what do you enjoy most about what you do?
I laugh frequently because I'll, go into a session and be like, okay, let's try this exercise today. It's going to be fun. And then I'm like, well, maybe it'll be fun for me. And it's, I love what I do. There's something so beautiful about being able to share those experiences with people, to kind of hold that space for them to see themselves in a way they maybe never have before, or to gain insights into what's occurring within them, to just maybe have some time where like they are the most important person in the room. And there's something really, really beautiful about some of the work that we do together with, that I do together with my clients. And, whatever direction we go in, there's enjoyment because we're all just kind of finding a path there.
Yes, that's wonderful. And is there anything else you'd like to add, Christina?
Yeah. I mean, gosh, I could keep you here for hours, Christina. Um, you know, if I were to add anything, I think it would be kind of touched on it already, in that it's like it's not too late. There's also a lot of beliefs around, well, I don't have had enough happen to me in my life. It hasn't been quote unquote bad enough for me to seek support or help. If we're looking big picture, sure. There are some really truly awful things that are happening in the world every single day to lots of different people. And that doesn't take away from your own lived experience. Human emotions are emotions, regardless of how we are coming to a place where we're feeling sad or hurt or disappointed or angry. The emotion is the emotion. And so, regardless of where you're coming from, there is a path forward and there is support available. And it's never too late. In EMDR, my previous trainer, had said, we like to say like it's never too late for a happy childhood. Like it's never too late to change the things that have happened and to start living life with a little bit more vigor or a little bit more enjoyment. And even if we can't heal the pain, we can certainly reduce the suffering. And so that's kind of what I would add there.
Which leads me to, how does one reach out to you if they want to, you know, get a consultation or use your services?
Yeah, so on my website, I have a couple of different booking links. My website's casperawellness.com. Um, Similar to my last name, Caspera with an A at the end. And I offer in-person and virtual counseling sessions across BC. And so if someone wants to come in person, I work in North Vancouver at the Delbruck Integrative Medical Clinic. Or if they want to join me from my home, or from their home rather, then they can also book like an online appointment. And we would start with the 20-minute consultation. And from there, we would plan where we want to go next.
Yes. And what about social media? Any social handles you want to share?
Yeah, I have a couple handles. My business is Caspera Wellness, so Caspera Wellness, and I also have a new yoga account I'm getting started up. I teach at one of the local studios in North Vancouver, and that's Christina on the Mat. So both will be sharing kind of together. Bit of a work in progress for me.
Well, you know what? I love Christina on the mat. So that's wonderful. Christina, thank you so much for your time today. I really enjoyed speaking with you, and I would love to have you back.
Yeah, that would be great. I'd be happy to come back anytime.
Okay, thanks again for your time.
Yes, thank you so much, Christine. It's been so nice talking with you.